It's Coach Matt. I just want to do this to help you with the solutions of all your chess pieces. You can watch this as often as you like until you have it down. Rook can go up, down, side to side. You can go up to capture the pawn, and there we go. Down and side. Side, side, down. Once you feel like you have this very easy, I want you to practice the letters and numbers as well. For example, the square is h7. The rook can go down to h7. Then the next one is g7. And then down to g1. Up to g8. Side to f8. Two rooks is a little bit easier. Side to side, up and down. We can capture 2 stars. a4, h4. And then rook on b7 takes on g7, g3. Last rook puzzle. Start with 1 rook on f3. He's going to go down to f2, up to f7, side to b7, side to g7, down to g4. Next rook is going to go side to d1, up to d5. All right, the bishop. He goes on diagonals, but only one color. This is the light squared bishop, so you can only travel on the light squares. He's not a dark squared bishop, can never go there, but you do have a dark squared bishop. This one's light. We're going to go diagonal and take on d5. Go diagonal and take on g8. Next, diagonal a2, b1, d3, b5, e2, d1. Just more answers. b6, e3, c1, h6, g7, a1. More answers. b3, a4, c2, b1, d3, e2. 2 different bishops. Light squares will capture the ones on light squares. Dark square bishop will capture all the ones on dark squares. Bishop on f1 takes on d3, e4, d5. Other bishop takes on e3, d4, e5. Last bishop puzzle. 2 different colors. Find all the ones on the same color. We'll start with the light square bishop. f5 to c2 to h7 to g8. The other bishop, dark squares. f6, h4, e7, a3. Queen moves just like a rook, up and down, side to side, and on the diagonals, like a bishop. She's on a light square right now, so she can go on the light squares. But if she goes to a dark square, she suddenly becomes a piece that can go on the dark squares. So diagonal, up, down, side to side, and there's our pawn. More queen answers. f2, f8, a3, h3. More queen answers. f1, f8, h6, d3. And both stars work here. I'll just pick one. g3, a3. More answers. g1, g8, a2, h2, h5, b5, d3. That's a little bit harder. This one's probably the hardest. d1, h1, h5, F2, F6, H6, G6, G8. That's all you gotta know for the queen. The king moves just like a queen in any direction, but because he eats too many eggs, he's really big, so he's super slow. We can get to the star in 3 moves in more than one way. We can go C4, D5, E6. We could go E4, F5, E6. We could also go E4, D5, E6. There's a couple more ways as well, but sometimes there's more than one answer. So I'm going to choose D4, E5, E6. This one's easy, just answers E2, E3, D3, C2. This one we get free 2 moves where you don't capture stars. One answer could be D6, C5, B5. Then we're going to take the 2 free moves, C4, D3. Now capture E3, F3, G4. Now the knights is a little bit harder. Couple ways to remember him. He goes 1, 2 step to the side. Looks like a big L, so the L shape. And if he's on a light square, he goes to the dark square, opposite color. If he's on a dark square, he goes to the light squares, opposite color. 1, 2 step to the side, 1, 2 step to the side. So the answer to this one is knight C5, light square to dark square, 1, 2 step to the side. Dark square to light square, 1, 2 step to the side. You can also say step to the side, 1, 2. They both work. Still look like L's. They're backwards, upside down. I like to say dark to light. This one's pretty easy because it's just back and forth. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. I'll just say the answer. Knight C3, E2, D4, F3, G5, F2, F7, H8. We have 2 choices to start with. Only one's correct. Knight E6, Knight F4, Knight D5, Knight B6, Knight D7. Also think of him as in a box, and he wants to jump out of this box. Well, he's on a dark square and jumps over to the light squares. That's pretty easy. 1, 2 step to the side, it works. 1, 2 step to the side, it works. Just pick one. I'll choose E6. And then G5, dark to light, E4, light to dark, G3. Whoops, I made a mistake there. I'll start over. And mistakes are okay. Don't worry. 1, 2 step to the side, take on F5. 1, 2 step to the side, take on E3. 1, 2 step to the side, take on G4. Light to dark, take on E5. Light and dark to light, take on F3. Just the answers now. F2, E4, C3, E2, F4, and G6. F2, E4, C3, E2, F4, G6. Last night puzzle. Make sure you start it correctly. We're going to go knight B5, D4, C6, B4, D5, E3, F5, E7, and C8. That's all you got to know for the knights. Watch this as many times as you need until you have it down. And the last one's the pawn. He has a few little tricky things to know about him, but start with the easiest. He only moves forward, up, towards the person you are playing. He can never go backward. So we'll go up, up, up. And if he makes the journey to the other side of the board, he is rewarded with choosing whatever piece he wants that's not a pawn or a king. Usually we want the most powerful one, the queen. The queen moves on diagonals, and we take on f3. Be sure you promote to the correct piece. Sometimes the queen isn't enough. Take a look. We make a queen. We go sideways to take a star. She has no more stars to take. So, who can take all the stars? Dark, light, dark, light, dark. It's the one that goes back and forth, and that's the knight. 1, 2, step to the side. 1, 2, step to the side. 1 step to the side, 2. 1 step to the side, 2. 1, 2, step to the side. That works, right? I still like dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. D7, E5, C4, B6, A8. Pawn can capture diagonal. He could take things going on a diagonal. E4, D5, C6, D7. However, if there's something in his way, he can't move. The pawn is the only one that gets stuck like this. But we can take diagonal. C4, C5. He got stuck again. But he has 2 choices. We'll go to D6, C7. And who do we make that can capture the stars? And that would be the queen or the rook. Since the queen moves like a rook, we'll try the rook. Down, side, down. Another one with the pawn. Make sure you do this correctly. Because if you go C4, B5, you get stuck. There's a pawn, and there's nothing to take. So we're going to go C4, D5, E6, D7, C8, and we can make a queen or a rook to solve this one. I'll choose a queen. C6, captures, captures. All right, more capturing practice. Takes on G4, takes, takes, pawn push takes, pawn push takes. Takes on G4, D4, E5, D4, C5, A4, B5. However, if a pawn has never moved, it's on its starting square in the game, it has a special ability to go 2 squares instead of 1. He slides through 2 squares. So, E3, and now we can't go 2 because he's already left the starting row. E5, and takes on D6. And to capture all these, I'll give the answer. Takes on D3, takes on E4, takes on F5. Use a special pawn move to move 2 squares. D4, C5, special pawn move to move 2 squares. E4, D5, and special pawn move F4 takes the E5. And that is all you need to know with all the pieces. Please watch this video as often as you need. Practice, practice, practice until you have it right. Because the more that you practice, the faster you'll get. And if you can get this to the point where you don't have to think about how to move anymore, like, oh, how's a rook move? Does he move diagonal? No, he moves up, down, side to side. Then you're ready for the next part of chess. So get this as easy as you know how to breathe. You guys probably already know what 2 plus 2 is, and yep, that is 4. And yeah, if you can get it as fast as I am, where I'm even doing this while talking, then you're really getting good super fast. So please practice, 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 practice. To master anything in chess, or actually, to master anything in life, you need to practice. You need to do it over and over and over again. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. Don't quit. You keep trying. You try and try again. I want you to always remember that the L does not mean loser. It means you're learning. L for learning, not losing. And I'm going to keep on flying through these to show you what is possible. Oh, see, I made a mistake. I'll restart and try again. I didn't press the correct square. Some of you might be using a computer. Some of you might be using an iPad. Some of you might not have either and just watching the YouTube video, and that's okay. I want you to do your best to practice. Play against your friends, play against your family, do whatever you need to get onto the chessboard. You have 2 weeks to get down the piece movement as easily as I am doing. You don't need to do it this fast though. I don't expect any of you to get this fast for a little bit, but if you can move them as well as you know your name, that would make me very happy, and we can learn a lot really, really fast, because someday we might be able to go to tournaments as a team and bring home trophies. And the trophy wouldn't just be for the school and the team. Sometimes you can get a trophy for just yourself, and you get to keep it forever. And then if you become an adult, not even that, if you're a kid too and you're better than me, you can go to big tournaments and make some money. And someday, one of you might become a master. So best of luck to you. I hope you guys have fun learning the game, and keep playing, keep practicing. I cannot tell you that enough. I will see you next time. Good luck.